We're with Dr. Bob Charlie, Forage Products Manager with Lalaman Animal Nutrition here at World Egg Expo. And Dr. Charlie, the World Forage Challenge here at World Egg Expo just completed another year. Yeah, what was the turnout like?
Well, the turnout for the awards presentation was actually very good, I thought. You know, the room was almost full. Once again, we had a really good lunch catered by a local restaurant out of Hanford, and that was excellent. There were about close to 100 entries again this year, which is about the same as last year, maybe a little up on last year. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to get the final numbers. But I think the important thing is that the competition continues to go on, you know, and like it's important because I've seen some articles that have been a bit dismissive of competitions like this and have said like they're like beauty competitions for forages or for forage samples. And while that's one way of looking at it, I think those people are really missing the point. The point isn't about judging a first, second and third and giving out prizes. The point is about raising the whole profile of forage quality, the fact that there is a thing about forage quality, or that we can improve forage quality, that we can strive to make forage better quality, and that it is going to impact the bottom line. And so the whole idea behind the competition, and I laud the World Ag Expo for having collaborated with Mycogen and ourselves for introducing this competition, it really is just to raise the bar for people and make them understand that like the quality of forages has a critical impact on profitability. So let's make better quality forages. Let's have a competition to try and stimulate that.
Were there any repeat winners from last year?
Funny you should say that, because actually the Triple Crown winner fell. There was an operation called Royal City Farms from up in I think it's Washington, that had won the conventional corn silage analysis or sample for the 3 years of the competition, and this year they didn't. They finished second. So I said to the guy after the dinner, so is this, you're going to retire gracefully, or are you going to come back and try again? And he said, oh no, this gives me even more fire to come back and try and win the crown back again. And I said, well, yeah, you're from Royal City, so you really need to get the crown back, you know. So there you go.
So there's three different categories, right?
Yeah.
Could you explain those?
Well, the three different categories are for hay, basically, which is a key part of the dairy ration, especially here in California. It's not so important at all if you go across to the Midwest and certainly into the East, but here dry baled hay is a key part of the dairy ration. And then the other two categories are corn silage, conventional corn silage, and BMR corn silage. And the only reason for separating out BMR corn silage is that if you didn't, it wouldn't be fair. The BMR would probably win every time if it was just a mixed bag, because the BMR is more digestible, it gives better analysis in terms of NDF digestibility and things like that. So that's why those three categories. We've had some discussions about whether there should be a different category, like a winter forage maybe, or haylage or something like that. Certainly if we were talking about more across the Midwest and the East, that would be even more critical. But this is a competition that's constrained to like the Western 7 states for no other reason than just the logistics of getting samples in and getting the tests done in a timely manner and things.
What's the best place to grow in these 7 Western states? Or, I mean, last year we were talking about some challenges that people had, and of course in the Midwest we had the drought. And were there any challenges this year for the challenge?
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm not sure that they impacted too badly on this competition, but like the best place to grow hay, it would appear that a lot of the high quality hays are coming out of Montana. So it seems like that's a real great place to produce high quality hay. Making real good quality corn silage, you can do it just about anywhere really. It really is about choosing the right varieties for the kind of growing season and soils and that you've got, doing a great job of harvesting that crop and getting the chop length right, processing it properly, using the shredlage header if that's the way you want to go, and then managing it, using inoculants, and then using quick fill, pack and consolidate well, and then keep it anaerobically sealed through to feed out and feeding it in a proper manner. And then, of course, there's the final step of just getting the ration right. If you don't balance the ration according to the silage, then you can lose it all. You could have the best quality silage in the world, but if you don't balance the ration to get the best out of that, you won't get it. And I guess the best example that I have of that is the change in starch digestibility in corn silage. some data, for some varieties under some conditions have shown that the starch digestibility in corn can change by, about 5% a month during the middle part of the storage period. Well, if you don't sort of like adjust for that 5 points a month, you're kind of potentially leaving milk on the table, or you're potentially sort of like overfeeding fermentable carbohydrates, and you can put the cows into subacute ruminal acidosis and lose milk production. So it's just it's a whole cradle to grave thing. I think I've said it before. It starts right with getting the hybrids right, picking the right things for your conditions, right through to managing the feeding program properly.
Those are the adjustments that you're talking about, because you have to, when you talk about making adjustments, it's pretty critical, isn't it?
It certainly is, Bill. Yeah, it is. I mean, there are a lot of management steps to get right. It's not rocket science. It's all about really understanding what those various steps are, right from, as I said, picking the right varieties, chop length, making sure that the material's packed and consolidated well, making sure you use a good quality barrier plastic on the top of the pile or the bunker, and then making sure that you feed it right and treat it with the right sort of inoculant for what you want to get out of the silage at the end of the day. And so, a good thing is just to have a checklist and try and check those things off. And probably in any given year, you're not going to get everything right, because, I mean, there are things like the weather that we can't absolutely control, obviously. And this past year has been you could say glorious or horribilis example of that in parts of the country, with the drought that we had.
It doesn't sound like it's going to change. I mean, from what we're hearing out there, are you hearing anything different as far as the weather here for this year?
No, not really. I mean, what I'm hearing is that we're expecting to see that drought through the Midwest, especially the high plains, continue for the foreseeable future until we get enough precipitation to get rid of it. And the drought was really sort of like, strange this last year. There were parts of the country where we had what I would say is a true drought, where basically it really affected the volume of crop that was coming off and stuff like that. In fact, some people that had planted seed corn, they weren't going to get a crop of seed corn, so the crop went to salvage crop silage. And then in the Midwest, the actual Minnesota, Wisconsin, which a lot of people think of as the Midwest, people thought that it was going to be a drought, thought it was going to mean there was going to be a smaller than a normal crop, and then they got rain just in time and ended up with a bumper crop, if anything. So it was a strange year all round, and it's going to mean some real feeding challenges in the year ahead. We've talked about that a little bit in the past, but those challenges are going to be there. There's going to be people that are going to have crops that don't have as much starch in them as they should, so it's going to be important to analyze for that starch and fermentable carbohydrate and then make the necessary ration adjustments. There are going to be people that are going to have yeast and molds on the crop because it got overly stressed during growth, and they should have used our Lactobacillus buchneri to treat it with to keep that under control, but assuming that they didn't, then they're going to have some potential heating problems at feed out. Not a lot they can do there. They can spray the surface with prop acid, but that's only going to keep the surface cool. It's going to do nothing about the heating just behind the face, which is where you lose potentially 40% of the dry matter. And then of course you can get mold growth with potential toxin production, and that means you can add some toxin absorbance and stuff like that. But I always say that, like, by the time you get mold growth, you've already lost 40% or more of the digestible nutrients out of the crop, so you might as well just toss it away, because you're only running the risk of, like herd health, herd reproduction problems.
Well, getting back to the World Egg Expo Forage Challenge, there is incentive to enter this for growers, because there is a cash incentive, isn't there? Where does the money come from?
It comes from us.
You're opening up your wallet for this. Yeah. So what's the prize money?
Well, Lallemond Animal Nutrition contributes $18,000 in total prizes. So in each of the three categories, there's a first, second, and third place prize, and I believe, what about 18,000? That's 6. I think it goes sort of like 1,500, 500, 1,500, and then sort of like 4,000 for the winner. It's very disproportionate, which is the way it should be, really. The guy that wins should get the bigger prize, but everyone's a winner in a way, because they pay I think it's a $30 entry fee, for which they get a free analysis of the silage. Well, free. it's cost them $30 to enter, but that's a lot cheaper than they would normally get an analysis done for. So, as I said to my people, to try and encourage them to get their customers to participate next year, you'd have to be silly not to do it, because it's cheaper than paying to get an analysis done. So enter the competition, you get your analysis done for you, and your sample gets entered into the contest. You may even win. It's a no-lose scenario, really.
Yeah, so it's a great program, and it's something that maybe somebody that hasn't entered yet maybe should start thinking about now, right, for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. They should start thinking about it, and probably, as the season rolls on, we'll be trying to get application forms out to people. We'll certainly be distributing them through people that sell our products. I know that Mycogen, the other sponsors of the competition, they also distribute things out to their customers. And I know that the Ag Expo organising committee themselves, they advertise the competition and they try and get applications out there. So it's just, come on troops, come on people, get involved, get free, virtually free analysis, and you might win $4,000 at the end of the day. It's better odds than the lottery.
There you go, Bob Charlie, Forage Products Manager with Lala Man Animal Nutrition. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bill.